All right. Mark and Ann are back for another blog talk. And which
Hello.
is the blog talk today? You wrote another blog. And
I
what is the
did.
topic of that?
We're going to talk about falls and trying to prevent falls,
And
which
we
is
were just talking before the
tricky.
show. I was sharing my father fell
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so let's start it off with that because I unknowingly mentioned something I was unaware of
Yeah.
that rollators are not popular.
Rollators are not popular.
And
And
they're
I
very
talk about
popular.
that. They are very popular with people that want one. Yes, they are. And they do make life there's good and bad to a rollator. I mean, there is. You've got the rollator. If you get tired, you can sit down,
Mm,
all that kind of stuff. The problem with
yeah.
a rollator is that they can get away from you, number one.
It makes sense when you said it. I
Yeah,
mean, really.
worst part about a rollator is
Is
remembering
they
to
roll
lock
away?
the wheels. And I don't know, your dad was getting out of the car.
Yeah,
Who
Cindy, my sister
knows? I
said
mean, it
Cindy
could have
he
gotten
was
away
getting out of the
from
car.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
because you're getting out of the car, but you think about it.
yeah.
You're getting out of the car, and so you're reaching for that rollator to help you for stability. Well,
And
it's
if it's
on
not locked and it
wheels.
rolls,
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't
yeah,
know if that was part of it, but what you're
right.
saying obviously makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
So,
yeah,
I
they
talk about
can
it in the blogs.
let's get to it, matter of fact. So,
Alright.
let's do our blog talk here, written by
Okay.
Ann, which is awesome. So, Ann, yeah, just take it away.
Okay. So when I wrote this, what I'm trying to do is just give some tips on
Mm,
things to try to prevent falls for seniors at home. Okay.
right.
I'm going to go ahead and say at the very beginning of this, and I don't know if that I even put this in the blog, but if people fall when seniors start falling, okay,
Mhm.
um, chances are much, much greater they're going to fall again.
Mm, okay.
And I could even in nursing home settings, assisted living settings, and we try to explain that to families because people in a nursing home and staff in the nursing home and staff in assisted living are not necessarily in the business of trying to always they do things to try to prevent the fall.
Right.
But once you've gotten to that point when you're falling, their job is to minimize injury,
Okay.
okay? So, anyway, we'll move on
I
with
see
it.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's like once it starts,
yeah,
there's you have to kinda go further into where that was just a oops. It may be a common thing now, and these are ways to help prevent that from happening sooner
yeah,
than
yeah.
later.
So, understanding the risk of falls, and of course, falls is a huge risk for seniors, and it's because of things like their safety. I mean, their balance and different things
Mm.
like that. Listen, I've fallen. My children threaten me all the time to put me in bubble wrap. No joke. I mean, I hurt my back, which was a whole different thing when I hurt my back. I
Oh,
was laying in
Lord.
the file cabinet when I hurt my back, so you can't really
Yeah.
count that. But I did fall when I did it. But there was that. And then after that, I stepped on a shovel at my son's house and broke
Mm.
my ankle. I,
Good
I mean, it was
Lord.
just bizarre. We went to the mountains. Alan and I went up to North Georgia and went up to the mountains. And we are at this restaurant waiting to be seated. And I am walking out to just look at the river and didn't see the step down.
Mm.
Bam, went down on my knees. I didn't get hurt, but I went down on my knees and it's like, dead gum
Yeah.
what you do. So anyway, paying attention and all those kind of things, but it's all about safety.
Right.
So common causes of falls, and they are everyday simple things. There are things like the slippery floors,
Mm.
inadequate lighting, clutter around the house, around the home, a throw rug. Throw rugs are very dangerous. I know a lot of people have bath mats and all those kind of things, and those can be very dangerous for people because they can slide. So we talk a lot about using non-skid socks and non-skid
Mm.
shoes, and we all make fun of the hospital socks, grippy
Yeah.
socks, but there's a
Mom
reason
has some
for
of those.
them.
They actually work. It's with you saying that, I was going into a community the other day, and it surprised me to where they did have a rug there, and my foot caught the rug and flipped it up.
Yep.
and luckily I, had my balance, but that would have been an easy fall just
Yeah.
with the
Right, and for
rug not
somebody
being.
that when and they're going in and out that door, someone that's, living there or something that, already is there because of some kind of supervision. They just
Yeah,
need to be there and didn't need to be at home by themselves, but most of the time, either somebody is coming in to see them. Well, maybe they're a little excited, so they may not catch that rug flipping up like that. So you're right,
yeah,
it's a very easy fall with things like that. So,
yeah,
um, you know, not having good lighting is always a big thing to look at too. So just identifying any of those kind of hazards around your home. Um, I did put in here a little bit about statistics on falls, and they talk about, and I did look up some of this, but they talk about 1 in 4 older adults fall each year, with
mm,
over 14 million reporting such incidents annually. And although that sounds like a lot, think about this too. It happens a lot, and I stuck this in because seniors don't always report when they fall.
right,
They don't want to tell their family because then everybody's going to get worked up. So my mama, when she was still driving and at home and that kind of thing, and she must have been in her 80s, I'm going to guess at that point. But mama fell at the post office and didn't tell any of us. And one of my brothers ran into her, ran into someone else a few weeks later, and the person said, "How's your mom?" And they're like, "What are you
mm,
talking about?" And they were there and happened to see Mama fall. So,
wow.
yeah, I lost the blog, so I don't know where it went. Do you
Yeah,
know that?
I was gonna
Oh,
pull something up. Yeah, there you
oh,
go.
okay. No, go ahead if you want to pull it up.
Yeah, I was gonna. Where did
Yeah.
Here we go. Speaking of which, I had wrote this back. Forgot what the
Okay.
date was, but you see the picture there of
Hmm.
that was my dad's shoes,
Uh,
and he has enough money. He had some brand new shoes, brand new, and for whatever reason, he was hanging on to the memories of his tennis days. And this was back last year. It was summertime, back before mom got really sick, and he was sitting
Mhm.
outside. And I walked out there and I had to take a picture and write this little blog story because I'm like, Dad,
Yeah.
are you trying to fall
Yeah.
with those shoes? But anyway,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. No,
what
no,
do you
but you're
do?
right, and that's what happens. So, looking at those things, but a lot of people fall, and so my mom fell, she just didn't tell us about it. I don't doubt she fell other times and didn't tell us about it, but who
Yeah.
knows? So, home safety modifications and looking at that, just trying to prevent things. So, it can be as easy as just moving the throw rug.
Mm,
One thing that I used to love that we used to do years ago, and they don't do it so much now in the nursing home arena, but we used to have therapy would go home and do a home eval for people
okay.
and be able to look. And so I talk about relocating the piece of furniture because there were a couple of times that we did send people out, and it was a matter of I've got this desk that's been there forever and ever, but now that I'm trying to maneuver around with a walker or God forbid the rollator, but one of those two pieces or anything, even if it's a three-pronged walker that they're using, maybe that desk or that china cabinet or maybe the dining room table even needs to be moved over. There's a time that we all reach where it's not about the dining room table just looks set and so pretty and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Maybe it's more about safety now.
Yeah.
So moving a piece of furniture out of the way and those kind of things can help to, just clear the pathway and make it a little bit easier. So room by room.
With
Mhm.
that being said, sorry,
Yeah.
when you go like some of the older assisted living communities and memory care is when you go into the bathroom is they don't have the floor level showers. They don't have the walk-in
Right.
that you
Right.
have that little, maybe 4-inch, 5-inch lip on it, which is a fall hazard. So
Yeah.
a lot of the newer communities are building the bathrooms that you can actually they're
Yes.
roll-in type.
Yes. Yeah.
So
You can just roll in
yeah,
wheelchair, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
and that is much safer. So when I talked about room by room and looking at this, the living room, being able to move the throw rugs, ensure that pathways are clear in a bathroom, installing grab bars. None
Mm,
of us want to admit that, but come on, it's safety. Just have a grab bar put in there so that, when you're trying to do something like wash your feet, something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can have a bench put in,
Yeah.
that are handy to have. And so those are good things to do. Non-slip mats, because there are a lot of seniors that grew up with the bath mats in their showers. And if you've not upgraded, and there's a lot of them that have not upgraded their bathrooms over the years, and they still have those. You remember the little dolphins and
Oh,
flowers
yeah.
that used to stick
And all the
on the
little,
batter? Yeah,
like what is it? The sticker things on an
yeah.
octopus. They had those on the bottom that you stuck them down.
You stuck
Had
them
like,
all on the
had
bottom.
like 30 of them on the
Yeah,
bottom of it.
and listen, the nursing homes had them in showers, and
Yeah.
excuse me, even the non-skid strips, that's what you found
Mhm.
there and stuff. So, making sure that if you're gonna use a mat, that is gonna be one that's gonna stick. If
Yeah.
you just have to use something like that, but put strips in, put something in that's gonna be non-skid for doing that. In the kitchen, organizing all the stuff that's really stuff you get to all the time. So when you talk about that, just the essentials that you're trying to get to and need every day. Um, excuse me,
Bless you.
but putting those items that are closer to you so that you don't need a step stool,
Yeah.
to get up on and stuff. And I'm sorry, excuse
That's
me.
all right.
Mm.
I have that happen.
Anyway, so another story to throw out there, but we would walk in at the house from time to time, and I have literally walked in my mama's house into the kitchen, and she couldn't see who was coming in from the way the door came in, and then it opened up into the kitchen. And I've walked in, and my mama be up on the kitchen cabinet, and I'd be like, "Mama, what in the
Oh, good Lord.
world are you doing?"
Yeah.
Well, the cabinets needed relining. No, no, really, they didn't.
No, they
They really
didn't.
didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did those kind of things. So
Well, I know we're talking about, in the home, but this can be true there, to where you have step downs in some houses, some
yeah,
homes have steps.
yeah.
And my dad would be an example to where if they did have steps in their home, when I take him to a doctor's visit or whatever, and there's steps and there's the rail
Mhm.
to use, he would walk up and down the steps without holding the rail.
Of course.
And he's 94.
Yeah,
And you're just
yeah,
it's like a
yeah,
toddler. It's like, "Dad, hold the rail."
yeah. But they don't, and think about it in terms of like you and I even. I don't get up every day. I have made this comment several times. I don't feel as old as I am or
Yep.
realize
Yeah.
my age until I'm standing in the bathroom mirror
Yeah.
with one or both of my daughters.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa.
Or
When did this
or you'll
happen?"
have you'll have a Facebook
Wow. I
memory
mean,
of
this
10
white
years
hair
ago.
is natural. I don't color it. So I'm
I
like,
don't know.
"Holy Christmas." Yeah, it's kinda crazy. But we don't think about that. Well, neither do they. They don't think about
Good point.
they're older and I need to hold this rail and all those kind of things. They just don't think about that. So, but
Good point.
anyway, just looking at those kind of things. We've talked a little bit and touched a little bit on walkers.
Mhm.
And I told you my distaste for rollators. I know that
Yeah.
rollators can be very, very handy when you're walking long distances. It's walking out to the mailbox, things like that. You think about a rollator can help. If you're going somewhere in a long distance, you can sit down on a rollator. The big thing about that is you got to remember to lock it.
Lock it. Yep.
My own mother fell in her kitchen because of a rollator. She did not lock it. She broke her elbow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I got more mama stories for something she broke or did, but
Yeah.
but it's true. And so it happens. But I know you said to me earlier, yeah, but what would he use? A regular walker?
Yeah.
Everybody
Like,
sees them,
duh,
a
right?
regular walker. tennis balls on it to help it slide on the floor, whatever you need to do with that. And a lot of the walkers have tennis balls on the front you can do, and they'll
Mhm.
have wheels on the back of it. So it does make it a
True.
little easier. Yes,
Yeah.
you lose that being able to sit down with a rollator. And then you also lose the fact that a rollator doesn't look as bad as a walker.
Well, and
It's
what
a
I get
mental
concerned
thing.
about is, Dad, what we have I'm on a flag lot behind them, but we have like a 350-foot
Right.
driveway, and we have a bunch of pecan trees. And this year, the pecans have been dropping.
Mhm.
So I don't know why, but they're dropping, dried out, greening the shell. And if I don't get
Mm.
the drive blown off, he
Yeah.
comes out here with his rollator, and I'm afraid the wheel's going to hit one of those
Yeah.
pecan
Yeah.
and lock up, and him, go
Yeah.
forward. So you're right about the rollators.
Yeah.
That is true about the wheels can be
Yeah,
a
yeah, it can,
hindrance.
and just remember to lock them, and, maybe use them when somebody's with you. That's
Yeah,
a little safer, those kind of things.
yeah,
So, lifestyle changes, when you talk about that, really is everything we've been talking about. But the other thing is that looking at something like your balance and
yeah.
just
Your
doing
core strength.
yes, and just
Mm.
small exercises. You can do chair yoga.
Yep.
You can jump on YouTube. You can jump on Pinterest. You can get someone in your family if you don't have a computer and you're not computer savvy as a senior and you don't want to fool with that. Get someone to print you out off of Pinterest or just off the internet.
I
Even
like your suggestion of Tai Chi. That is very good for balancing and core strength.
it's wonderful. So is
Yeah,
yoga.
yeah.
Either one of those, but you can do chair yoga because a lot of people can't get on the floor. So don't get
Mhm.
on the floor. Just do some chair yoga, but you can get
You won't be able to get
pictures.
up.
Yeah, right. You can get someone to print you off a sample of the moves and what to do and
Mm,
that kind of thing. Silver
yeah.
Sneakers is wonderful
What
for
is that a
exercises. Silver Sneakers is just a website for seniors, and they do
okay.
a lot of exercises and all kind of things like that. So it's a great place to find all kind of videos and stuff like that. So, yep,
There it is. Okay.
yeah, yeah, and see, they've got her on a balance ball. I'm not
Yeah.
encouraging people to run out and get on that balance ball if you don't think you
Well,
got good
yeah, I mean,
balance.
but it's a good resource, like you say,
It's a
just
wonderful, yeah,
use
it's
it
a
according
wonderful
to your
thing.
age and ability. So,
Yes, and we used it at the assisted living, activities used it and put it up on the big screen TV, and we used it
ah,
to do exercises with people.
right.
So you can find any level on there too, and just whatever you can do with that. But those
Yeah.
kind of things, exercise, I know we get tired of hearing it, um, but exercise is so important, and you're
Yeah.
right. It's about your core strength. It's just good for you. It's good for your bones.
Well, I think as we get older, core strength and flexibility are two of the very most important ones, because
Yes.
when you get, bathing in the shower and if you're not flexible and you go to, lift your foot or whatever, and flexibility and core strength I'd
Yeah.
say core strength especially, because
Yeah.
a lot of people think that my back hurts. Well, it's because your abdominals are weak. It's
Yeah.
not always
A lot of right.
yeah.
Yep. A
So
lot of times. Yep. And mention in the shower, I'll just tell you, I'll looping back to that, some talking about equipment and stuff. There are they make my husband had rotator cuff surgery a few years ago, and we had to get him one of the handle little scrunchies,
yeah,
on a handle and stuff,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
make those with a brush, and so you can use all kind of different things that you're not having to bend over,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So thousand things out there that can be done. Um, Regular medical reviews and checkups, including your medication. There,
Mm,
meds can have side effects and then they can interact. You get started on a new med. Maybe you go to another doctor and that doctor started you on a new medication. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to make a doctor's appointment to go back. You don't have to knock
mm,
yourself out to get back to a physician to talk to them. Go to your local pharmacy, wherever you get your prescriptions filled. Pharmacists know more about medications
then doctors do.
than doctors
Absolutely.
do, and maybe a doctor's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but I
No, it's true.
truly believe that, and they
It's
can
true.
help you with that, and they will. They
Yeah,
love giving information like that to patients, so go
yeah.
somewhere and talk to somebody. emergency preparedness. So being prepared for an emergency, and it can make a huge, huge difference. One of my mother's falls, she happened to be on the phone with my aunt. It was a cordless phone. Mama fell, phone cuts off. My aunt called right back and said, "Are you okay?" And she was able to say, "I fell." So they hang up and they call one of my brothers and they get over there to mama.
Mm.
Broke a hip.
Oh,
Juggling too much. Juggling too much. Phone in hand, had a plate in her hand, a saucer where she'd had something to eat, trying to do the phone, pick up the saucer, just doing too much. You can't do those things. Just don't do them. You can
yeah.
always go take a cup to the kitchen and come back and get the saucer, do whatever you need to do. But being prepared for some of that. So, where do you keep phone numbers for people? Where
Mm.
do you have a list of emergency phone numbers? My mother did. She had all of our phone numbers that were posted on the refrigerator. She also had a little drawer right there that people could pull it out of. And it's set up on the counter. There was a little bar in my mom's kitchen, and she had stuff that sat right there. And that's a perfect spot. But keep phone numbers for people to call, because let's say that you are smart enough to have a code alert or whatever you want. They call them medical alerts, all different things. But if you've got a medical alert and they come to get you, they may have phone numbers that they can call for you automatically, just like calling
Mm. Right.
911. But let's say you've got the phone and you get an ambulance and the ambulance gets there, you're already upset. Even if you're on the phone with 911 and they stay on the phone with you till EMS gets there, chances are you're not going to be able to tell them who to call
Yeah.
in your family. So have a list, have something close by, have a neighbor or someone that knows what to do and can, get someone else for you. Um, I've seen patients that have come to us with a hip fracture, and they were found on the floor and they laid there for a while because nobody knew who to
Mhm.
call. Nobody had heard from them. They didn't have a phone with them, and so
That
they got
happens a
found
lot.
several hours later. It does. We had a gentleman that came
Yeah.
in one time that'd been in the bathtub, and I'm not exaggerating. He'd been in the bathtub for close to 24 hours,
That's
and somebody
horrible.
finally checked on him. Yeah, yeah. Just and people didn't hear from him and trying to call him. Same thing I talk about in this blog with my aunt. My aunt fell outside going in her little concrete steps, and we had to put a handrail up. My brother put a handrail up for her, but she was going in one day and she fell, and she fell over and just topped over to the
Yeah.
side and fell off into there were bushes next to it, and she fell off down into the bushes, and you'd have to know my aunt, she was so funny. But anyway, she fell down in the
Mm.
bushes. Well, some of her friends start calling, they couldn't get her. So they finally called one of my brothers. He goes over to the house, and Aunt Jane's laying in the bushes right there. And she said, "I just wiggled out of my sweater and put it under my head. And I thought, if the good Lord says this is it, this is it,
Well, that's a good
Um,
attitude.
but she was there for several hours.
Yeah.
And I say several, she was there 2 to 3 hours before they got Steve and got him to go over and check on her and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but things like that happen. So just she had a medical alert. And let me just say, if you're gonna have one, wear it.
Yeah.
She did not, and she just said it got in her way and she didn't wanna wear it, and I've heard that before too. I've heard a lot of people say, they're just bothersome, "I don't want it on my wrist, I don't want it around my neck," whatever, but
Yeah.
it's there for your safety. So, use them, wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna have it. So, preventing falls at home is truly just what we're talking about. It's just being aware.
Yeah.
Just being careful, putting in safety things, moving furniture around, whatever it is you need to do, so that you can still feel like you've got your independence at home. Come on, we've all moved furniture over the years, especially females. Everybody loves to rearrange their house every now and then. You get tired of where things are. So just
Yeah.
move them out of the way, create a path, and just be smart about it. Really, but it's just awareness. And then if you've had falls, then just being really careful. If you know that you lose your balance some, I just had a brother that recently fell. because all of them ride bikes together. And so he had an accident with that. And, I just shared that I've had falls. I have
It's
osteoporosis.
a bad feeling. You have
It is. I
osteoporosis?
do. I have
Yeah.
osteoporosis. My mom had it. I have two brothers that
Wow.
have it.
Which,
And
of
so
course, is
for
a higher
me,
risk for breakage, right?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, yeah. So, you just
Falling
have to.
is a weird feeling. I was, back when I in my finance company, we had offices in Fayetteville, and my partner had this, the big, not the Georgia Bulldog, but the English Bulldogs, the bigger, they almost like a
Yeah,
pit
yeah.
mix, I think.
Uh-huh.
And so he'd bring his dog to work, and we had the entire upstairs, so it's like a horseshoe, um, up, my office was on one side, the break room was in the back, and then the
Oh,
operations
yeah.
office on the other side. And so I was over there goofing around with Tank, and I was going to go taking off down the hall to get him to chase me. And I tripped and did about 5 big steps and face planted. And you're just like,
Yeah,
because my legs got weak from not, being as strong. And as
yeah,
you get
yeah,
older, but
yeah.
anyway,
Well,
and
it happens.
awesome blog. I enjoy doing these blog talks. They are very
Yep,
informative. So if anybody wants to share this, we would appreciate it. We do ask everybody to subscribe, support the channel, share it. Never know who could come across it. And as always, if a loved one or anybody needs help being placed into independent living, assisted living, memory care, or in-home health or in-home care, we can take care of you all at no cost to the family. So,
yep.
Ann, enjoyed it.
Thank you.
We've Hey,
Appreciate it.
what's our next show? I don't want to put you on the spot. Who's our next show coming out
All
with?
right, let me think. I'm looking
Let
at
me
the
look.
calendar. Hang on. So today's the 20th. So our next show is on the 25th, and we have
This is
Sergeant Mule.
security.
Yep.
Yep.
On scams and abuse. A little bit of abuse will come into that because he does
Mhm.
work with Adult Protective Services. So that'll be interesting to talk about there.
And
I
then on
really
the
want to do a little
26th, we
blog
had the
talk.
Just Ask Seth.
Yeah, yeah, Just Ask Seth is on the 26th, and then we slide into October, and on October the 2nd, we have Kelly.
Excellent.
I believe that's who we've got. Yeah, yeah,
And
coming
I
up.
interrupted you. You said something about another blog talk you were saying.
Yeah, I'd love to do a blog talk. I want to do a blog talk on abuse. I want us to talk about that,
Okay.
elder care abuse and that kind of thing. The other thing I want to ask people that are listening to this to please do is either to email us, throw up the emails if you got it, please.
I do.
Email us, just comment in the comments section. But I would really love to hear some topics that they
Mm,
would like to see some blogs on. Maybe they know somebody that
good.
doesn't necessarily listen to the podcast all the time, but they want to see some blogs on some things. I'd love to hear some topics that
Mm,
they want to hear us cover, or write a blog on and talk about and those kind of things. That'd be good.
awesome.
All
Awesome.
right.
Very good.
Great.
All
Thanks.
right. Well, it's Mark and Ann. We will see everybody on the next show.